Ever wonder why you get stuck in loops, spend hours tweaking tracks, and still aren't hearing the results that you want with your music? After spending over 10 years frustrated even with formal audio training, I realized that the problem isn't a lack of skill, knowledge, or even hours in the studio. And trust me, it's definitely not your gear. In this video, I'm going to show you a simple, proven process to finish music you're proud of that sounds like no one else by working smarter, not harder. I bet you've been making music this whole time without ever understanding how your brain actually creates. And the truth is, that's why you keep getting stuck. But here's the thing, it's not your fault. Through traditional schooling, societal norms, and even most music education, we've all been conditioned to think like workers, not creators. We're taught to follow rules, to avoid mistakes, to do things the right way. But music doesn't work like that. Music is flow, it's feeling, it's self-trust and discovery. And you can't force your way into artistry. You can't imitate your way into your unique genius. It has to be discovered from within, but no one teaches us how. How do I know this? Because I was stuck too for way longer than I care to admit. Even after graduating from audio school, I still couldn't finish music that resonated. Audio school taught me the technical skills, but nothing about how to approach my creativity. Like most people, I thought that I needed better gear, more skills, or just more time in the studio, but none of that solved the problem. I'd still end up with half-finished tracks, endless rabbit holes, self-doubt, perfectionism, creative burnout. And the worst part, eventually it started to affect how I saw myself. I love music with every fiber of my being, but I couldn't create anything that matched the vision I had in my head. But then I had a breakthrough. It came from studying psychology, creative flow, and even some ancient wisdom. I realized something powerful. Creativity follows universal patterns, the same ones found in storytelling arcs, in stages of spiritual growth, and even the cycles of nature. I realized that I'd been working against the natural flow of creation, trying to force outcomes instead of moving in sync with the deeper intelligence of the creative process. The solution isn't about doing more. It's about sequencing your creativity to align with how your brain works. Right brain flow for idea generation, left brain logic for refinement, structure for consistency, time for iteration, and space for reflection. Most artists are either missing a crucial part of the process or they try to do everything at once. But that's like having one foot on the gas and the other on the brake while driving. You spend a ton of effort for little to no results. This happens because of what's called cognitive bias, invisible mental patterns that cause flawed judgment and decision making. You can't explore and evaluate at the same time. You can't easily make decisions with 100+ options. You can't effortlessly finish music if you're constantly context switching. My problem wasn't what I was doing, it was when and how I was doing it. When I started to observe where these cognitive biases happened, I structured my creativity around them in the right sequence, and the difference was night and day. I finally finished a 13-song album that truly felt like me. It was the best sounding music that I've ever finished, and it's the fastest that it ever came together by working less in the studio. And soon, my students saw the exact same results. It's the same shift that helped Alan create a unique sounding 7-track EP in 90 days. It helped Matt finish 2 entire albums after a long break away from making music. And it also helped Gio finally release his first pro-sounding track after struggling with perfectionism for years. This, along with countless other artists finally finishing their best music that sounds like no one else. All because we stopped forcing music and started flowing with it. So I took everything I learned about psychology, creative flow, and systems thinking and turned it into a repeatable, brain-aligned process for finishing music. A creative system designed specifically to help artists like you and me finish music without second-guessing every move, eliminate any overwhelm and frustration in creating pro-quality tracks, and rediscover our unique sound and the joy of creation. I call it Workflow Wizardry, a 7-stage creative system that mirrors how your brain naturally works. And this isn't a plug and play formula or like the exact steps of what to do to make music. This is a flexible framework that gives your creativity the structure it needs to thrive. It doesn't tell you what to create, it guides you to discover how you create best. Each stage of the system activates a different creative mode in your brain. Some stages unlock improvisation and idea generation. Others focus on problem solving and critical refinement. Some help you zoom out and see the big picture. Others help you zoom in on the details. When you move through these stages with the right mindset in the right order, everything clicks. Instead of fighting your ideas, questioning your instincts, or wasting your time on diminishing returns, you finish music faster, make better creative decisions, and make the art that's a direct expression of you. You leverage your strengths, find your bottlenecks, and develop your unique way of doing things. As you continue to iterate, you uncover where your unique artistic genius lies. This exact system has already helped hundreds of artists go from overwhelm and frustration to creative freedom. And it's the exact same system that I use to finish my own music. Now, let's walk through exactly how it works stage by stage, because once you understand the principles behind these stages, you'll never see music making the same way again. Ever sit down to make music and just end up scrolling through sounds, tweaking effects, and second guessing every idea? Let me guess how most of your sessions might start out. You open your DAW with good intentions, but within minutes, you're deep in the weeds, browsing endlessly for the right sound. You're auditioning different kick drums, tweaking your first idea because it wasn't good enough. Then you start second guessing everything and aren't sure what to do next, only to dive back into another rabbit hole. And before you know it, 60 minutes are gone. We're told that more tools equals more creativity. But the truth is, too many options dilute focus, kills flow, and adds friction to your decision making. Most artists open their DAW to a million possibilities, dozens of instruments, hundreds of plugins, gigabytes of samples, and that seems like freedom. But too many choices don't help you, they paralyze you. Psychologist Barry Schwartz calls this the paradox of choice. When you have too many options, you feel less satisfied with the ones you pick, or you don't choose at all. This overwhelm isn't because you're uncreative, it's because your brain is stuck in a loop of tiny, unimportant decisions, which leads to what psychologists call decision fatigue. In stage 1, Calibrate, we flip the script. You create a minimalist toolkit with just a few expressive instruments that you get to know extremely deeply. Rhythm, bass, melody, harmony, that's it. Instantly, resistance goes down and flow goes up. Your brain isn't wasting energy on infinite possibilities and becomes focused, present, and ready to create. That's why artists like Bon Iver, James Blake, and even Fortet create magic with super simple setups, because creativity thrives in limitation, not excess. When there's a limitation, your creativity becomes required to solve the problem. You don't need 100 options. You need a handful that you love and that you can truly master. Then your DAW becomes an instrument, not a menu. You always start with clarity and enter flow faster. And best of all, you finally have a repeatable way to begin every session. Later, you can add layers, replace instruments, and dial in textures. But here, you're getting into creation fast. Here's what one of my students had to say once he went through stage 1. This workflow has really freed me to relax and enjoy the whole process. My studio feels like a playground and everything is so much easier. Okay, you've got your sounds dialed in, you're ready to create, but suddenly it hits you. I don't know where to start. I need a good idea. This doesn't sound good. And just like that, you're frozen. That voice in your head, the pressure to get it right immediately, is the #1 killer of creativity. But here's what no one tells you. This resistance is expectation in disguise. It's not that you're incapable of writing great ideas, it's that you're trying to quality control before you even allow yourself to explore. Writer's block is simply not letting yourself write bad music. We've been taught that effort creates good results, but in music, trying too hard to get it right actually blocks us. It might surprise you, but some of the greatest songs ever written came in a flash. Tame Impala's The Less I Know The Better written in 15 minutes. Soundgarden's Black Hole Sun, a quick burst of creativity, 15 minutes. The Beatles' Yesterday, revealed through a dream and made real in less than 15 minutes. These songs weren't forced, they were captured effortlessly. Flow isn't about forcing ideas, it's about releasing expectations and fully immersing yourself in the creative act. You're not trying to make a finished product, you're not even trying to make something good. You're improvising, channeling, exploring. And yes, a lot of what you make won't be great, and that's okay. That's part of any healthy creative practice, because inevitably something beautiful will emerge beyond what you could conceive. And there's neuroscience behind this. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi discovered that flow happens when you have clear feedback, low pressure, and total immersion. That's exactly what we create here. No pressure, no judgment, just curiosity. Here's what my student Trevor had to say about this stage. For the first time in years, I'm tapping into that elusive flow state more and more. This is seriously the most fun I've had in years making music. When you stop trying to be productive, to be good, or to be original, you get out of the way and allow music to move through you like you're connecting with something bigger than yourself. With your setup calibrated and zero pressure to perform, your brain naturally enters the zone. This is where the most original, unexpected, and soulful ideas appear. Ideas that you could have never thought up. In stage 1, you drew back the arrow. In stage 2, you release it. You've jammed your heart out. Ideas flowed, loops emerged, sounds landed. But now you're stuck again. Where do I go from here? How do I turn these ideas into a full song? This is the hidden trap that most artists fall into. They stay stuck endlessly tweaking loops, trying to brute force ideas into full tracks. But what if you spent hours refining something that never had the potential to be a great song in the first place? This is why Stage 3 Extract exists. Here, you zoom out, you listen to your raw material, and simply curate the gold. This is based on the Pareto principle. 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. This means that 20% of your ideas will likely be much stronger than others without having worked any harder on them. This secret has shaped countless artists' greatest work, from Michael Jackson to Frank Zappa and even Mozart. They discovered their best material from an abundance of ideas. Your job isn't to make every idea work. Your job is to find the ideas that already work and explore them deeper. Now you're shifting from pure improvisation into structured experimentation. You're testing variations. You're experimenting with transitions. You're stretching ideas into new directions, but you're still not worried about finishing a full track. That can come later. Right now, you're simply playing with ideas to see which ones naturally flourish. Think of a wedding photographer. They take thousands of shots, but only select a few. The artistry isn't in the camera settings or taking the perfect picture. It's in knowing which moments to keep. That's extract. Most artists never do this. They waste energy forcing weak ideas or rush into composition way too early, which only leads to more frustration. But when you only focus on your strongest material, momentum builds naturally, because you're no longer fighting to make something work. You're doubling down on what's already working. Here's what one of my students, George, had to say about extract. Loving all of the concepts, and the best thing is that it works. I have lots of ideas created and ready to compare to find the gold. In stage 1, you reduce the noise. In stage 2, you let ideas flow. In stage 3, you listen for what wants to emerge. At this point, you're excited. You've got something real, not just loops or a few disconnected ideas, but strong material with an undeniable essence. Now it's time to turn it into a full song. But when you look at your timeline, questions start flooding in. How should it start? How do I build tension and release? How do I transition smoothly between all my ideas? This is the next wall that most artists hit. They get stuck in arrangement. They try composing their parts together from start to finish, but quickly run into trouble. Ideas feel disconnected and don't develop naturally. Transitions become difficult to navigate, and every decision feels high stakes. Here's why. When you compose from start to finish, every idea has to perfectly lead into the next one as you structure your tune. This creates a ton of pressure. But here's the truth. You don't compose by arranging parts from left to right in your DAW. You sculpt the song from the inside out, starting with the energetic arc of tension and release, then shaping everything else around that. That's exactly how we approach composition here. First, think in broad strokes. This is a rough composition. Start by identifying the climactic moments in your piece, the dynamic peaks and valleys that will happen throughout your song. Then build a map of the intro, outro, and connecting sections out from there. Your brain makes decisions much easier when it has a structure to work from, even if parts are missing or aren't fine-tuned yet. Nothing is worse for your creativity than staring at the blank timeline in your DAW. When you compose songs like this, you move quicker and more intuitively because you're not worried about the details yet. This allows you to practice your songwriting skills faster. You get more reps in when you're not overly precious about each track. And the more that you practice writing songs, the easier it will become. Think of it as a prototype for an app. You're creating an essential starting point, knowing that you're going to refine it later. Before you worry about the finer details, you need to know what the main function of the software will be. With a complete prototype, you can get feedback and more perspective to make any major changes if needed. Then the UI design, features, and back-end coding will have a clear purpose to serve. Plus, when you work on multiple songs with this method, your best songs rise to the top, you'll stay more objective, and you'll always have something fresh to jump to if ever you get stuck. Mike, another student, had this to say about Compose. I used to stop working on songs when I got bored or stuck. Now, I just move to another. It's creating consistent momentum across everything. At this point, your structure is there. There's a clear beginning, middle, and end. The heart of your song is strong, but now you catch yourself getting lost again, adding extra layers, fine-tuning effects, changing that one snare sample again. This is where most artists spin their wheels. They jump into detail work too early, tweaking before the ideas are strong, refining sounds before the composition is complete, or mixing before the production is finished. They confuse tweaking with progress, making things sound different, but not better. When you wait to edit at the right time, once strong ideas and a solid structure are already in place, this stage becomes simple, focused, and powerful. But here's the key. You don't jump straight into editing your production. You pause, reflect, listen first outside the studio with fresh ears. You shift from an exploring mode of what is possible to an evaluating mode, what is essential. You're asking clear, specific questions. Does every part support the musical story? Are these the right sounds, or does something need to be replaced? Is there anything clashing, missing, or overcrowded? Now you're solving specific problems instead of randomly guessing. And here's the psychological secret. Solutions are infinite. Problems are finite. When your brain has a clearly defined problem to solve, it creates an imaginary finish line in your head. Then editing becomes energizing and exciting, not exhausting. But remember, editing isn't about perfection. It's about removing friction between your song and the listener's experience. Obsessing over perfection denies you the growth and beauty that comes from embracing imperfection. Think of it this way. How many songs have you heard that sound sonically perfect, but don't leave you with any meaningful impact? Lots, right? On the other hand, how many legendary songs are there that don't have perfect production, yet remain timeless? Although yes, we want our music to sound professional, this goes to show that chasing a perfect sound isn't actually what makes an impactful experience. Once you're working with exceptionally strong material and able to identify and make tangible what will make an impactful production, you become the artist who finishes with ease. And again, not by getting everything right from the start, but by knowing when to refine at the right time. This stage completely transformed one of my students' abilities to finish his own music and better serve his clients. Here's what he had to say. This program helped me make music so much faster and finish my projects that had been sitting around for years. Thanks, Alex, for all your help. I'm more able to serve my clients and my own music. This changed the way I do music forever. I highly recommend. Let's be real for a second. Your track is finished, but now it feels like technical gymnastics to get it sounding professional. What do I boost or cut with EQ? How do I get clear separation between my sounds? Why does my low end still sound muddy and weak? But chances are your problem isn't a technical one. It's that you're trying to solve creative problems with a technical approach. Most artists struggle with mixing for one simple reason. They're hoping that mixing will magically make their music sound good. But here's the truth. If your arrangement is messy, if your performances lack emotion, if your sounds clash, no mix can save it. Great mixes start with great productions. It's not about chasing perfect EQ curves or fancy plugins. It's about clearly presenting what makes your song special. If you've properly followed the previous stages, you're already going to be 80% of the way there. When your ideas are strong, your layers are intentional, and your arrangement is clear, mixing becomes an art, not a science. It's not about what tools you use or how you use them. It's about why. Instead of obsessing over plugin settings or frequency graphs, you're shaping energy, contrast, tone, and depth, always serving the aesthetic vision for your track. Think of it this way. Imagine you dropped something and made a mess in your kitchen. There's broken glass, food, and liquid all over the floor. What do? You just intuitively reach for the tools that you need. A damp cloth, a broom, and maybe some cleaning solution. What you don't do is test all of your tools in every possible combination to see what might work best. That's exactly what we're aiming for in the mix. We want to be intuitively reaching for the tools that we need instead of arbitrarily trying and testing a bunch of random things. And we're not simply aiming for a balanced mix. That can make a boring mix. We want to make an exciting listening experience. Your job as a mixer is to guide the listener's ear through the song, feature what makes every section of your piece interesting. That's what makes a great mix. Because listeners don't care about what tools or techniques you use. They care about how the song makes them feel. And when you have mastery over your tools and fluency with the mixing process, all of your technical decisions become intuitive and are in direct service to an aesthetic goal. My student Rod followed this exact approach and easily finished his best sounding mixes yet. I've already used some of the various techniques in my mixes. They're game changing. This course is great. Not only has it taught me so much, but it continuously inspires me. By now, you've created something that matters. It's expressive, it jumps out of the speakers, and it sounds complete. But here's the mistake that most artists make. They see mastering like a dark art, only reserved for the initiated few. How loud should it be? What's the perfect mastering chain? Do I need analog gear or fancy plugins? Yes, mastering is technical. Yes, you want your track to translate across systems and sound polished. But if you followed all of the previous stages, mastering is actually the most subtle stage of all of them. Endless tweaking at this stage isn't refinement. It's fear in disguise. Because mastering isn't only about final tweaks. It's about trust. More than anything, mastering is psychological, especially if you're doing everything yourself. Stage 7 is about closure. It's the moment when you stop asking yourself, is this good enough? And instead ask, is this complete? The reason why some artists never experience the power of truly releasing music is because fear holds them back. But on the other side of fear is the real gift, the growth you experience from completing the creative cycle. And this is how real mastery is built. Mastering is the moment when you declare your song done, which will always be a decision. Truth be told, nothing will ever feel like it's truly finished because anything can be improved. But you have to know when something is good enough to let go of it. That's what makes a real artist. Not someone who makes perfect music, but someone who acknowledges and values each snapshot of their creative expression. The brain loves closure, and without it, your attention will always remain fragmented, stuck in open loops. Finishing a project doesn't just free up your creative bandwidth. It's a fundamental part of your growth as an artist. You're ending a chapter so you can begin the next. Here's what Gio had to say after the results he got using the system. Definitely one of the best decisions I have made to develop myself as an artist. Alex seems more like a sensei rather than just another guy who has an online music course you can enroll in. When you move through these 7 stages in order and in sync with how your creative psychology actually works, you eliminate friction, avoid getting stuck, and start finishing music from a state of flow. You stop second guessing, you stop getting lost in endless loops, you stop chasing new gear, plugins, and tutorials, and you start creating from a place of confidence and freedom. You start finishing music that's impactful, professional, and most importantly, yours. But more than that, you unlock your full potential as a music creator and become the artist you know that you're meant to be. You become a proficient musician, producer, and engineer. You tune into your creative center, transform your relationship with your music, and in the process, begin transforming your relationship with yourself. That's what Workflow Wizardry was designed for. And now you can clearly see how this process works to go from frustrated and overwhelmed with your music to confidently finishing tracks you're proud of and how it can work for you. And this hasn't just happened a couple times. It's something we see time and time again. Scott went from getting lost and distracted in endless rabbit holes to finishing his first self-produced EP with absolute clarity. Christopher ended his procrastination of waiting for the right time to go all in with his music and finished a project that he'd been dreaming about for years. Zach wrote his favorite piece of music he's ever made by working a fraction as hard as he used to in the studio, and the list goes on. And the beauty of this is that we all achieved our own unique creative breakthroughs by following the same step-by-step process inside Music Creator Academy. If this resonates, let me show you what's inside. Music Creator Academy is a 90-day program that helps you finish your best music using the exact 7-stage system I just walked you through. It's designed to help you move from your very first ideas all the way to a fully finished album or EP without overwhelm, second guessing, or getting stuck, all while developing your own creative process with the insights you gain. And unlike most courses that just give you a ton of scattered information, MCA is a step-by-step music finishing experience built around creative psychology, structure, and real-world application. It's a fully guided journey built to help you finish an EP or album in 90 days, tap into consistent creative flow, write music that leaves an impact, achieve a professional standard of quality with your tracks, and develop your artistry and unique sound. Here's what you get inside. 9 core modules. Learn how to master each stage of the system and make it your own, from getting into flow state to composition, all the way through mixing and mastering. 90-day game plan. Never feel uncertain or confused again. Know exactly what to do every single day, step by step. This isn't binge watching content. This is an action-based learning experience by completing a music project. Workflow Wizardry Studio Hub, your personal creative command center. Plan your sessions, capture your ideas, and track your projects through each stage of the system. MetaMind Music Community. Surround yourself with other growth-minded creators, share your work, get feedback, stay accountable. Lifetime access and future updates. Join once and revisit the material anytime. Go at your own pace and benefit from the system upgrades as it evolves. To make your journey even smoother, I've included a few bonuses that are designed to streamline the process, accelerate your progress, and support you wherever you're at in your journey. Bonus number 1 is the 14-day release plan, a step-by-step guide to help you release your music so you don't just finish it, you share it with the world. Bonus number 2 is the Calibrate and Mix templates. Get 2 ready-to-use project files to learn from and drastically speed up your progress. The Calibrate template is a template with 4 expressive instruments for rhythm, bass, melody, and harmony, meticulously designed for expressive control and to get you into flow state faster, built with Ableton stock sounds, which are trial friendly. The Mix template, a template with the best go-to plugins and specific preset starting points for each track. Get pre-routed return tracks with fine-tuned effects to instantly get amazing sounds and stay in flow when you're mixing. Built with Ableton stock sounds, which are trial friendly once again. And bonus number 3 is the foundational music production training. This will allow you to master or brush up on the fundamentals and create with confidence. It's a comprehensive training series designed to teach you all of the fundamentals of music production and give you a complete musical understanding. Whether you're just starting out or want to revisit the foundations, we got you covered. I've poured everything I know from 15 plus years of trial and error, study, and breakthrough into Music Creator Academy, not just to help you finish better music, but to help you transform how you see yourself as an artist, to give you the direct path to get the results that you want with your music that I wish I had years ago. And right now, you have everything you need to succeed. All you have to do is take action, not someday, not when you're ready, not when you have more time, now. And chances are you've already spent more than enough on gear, plugins, and random tutorials. And if you're currently spending any amount of your time spinning your wheels, doubting your abilities, and not finishing the music you know you're capable of, that is the true cost. The hard drive of unfinished songs, the lack of consistent progress, and subpar quality of music won't change until you make a choice to commit and do something about it. Every other day, week, or month that you wait is another lost opportunity to express the music that's waiting inside you. So who is this for? If you've been making music for a while, but you know there's another level and that deep down you're capable of more, this is for you. If you care deeply about your art and you want to create music that's truly yours, not just imitate others or follow genres, this is for you. If you feel stuck, inconsistent, or overwhelmed, but are ready to take your music seriously and change that, this is for you. Who is this not for? This is not for total beginners. The program assumes that you already know how to use your DAW, how music works, and understand audio processing and signal flow at a foundational level. However, keep in mind, we do have that bonus training to help you brush up on your fundamentals, but the core course material was built for the intermediate creator ready to level up into their full potential. It's also not for anyone looking for a magic pill. We've done everything in our power to streamline the experience and eliminate creative friction, but we can't make your music for you. You still have to show up, you still have to take action, because nothing will change if you don't. And finally, this process is different. It's not based on formulas or copy-paste templates. These are counterintuitive exercises and deep mindset shifts. You will be pushed outside your comfort zone, and it's all in service to helping you uncover what works best for you. But you will be challenged to let go of perfectionism, explore new methods playfully, and reframe how you relate to your music. If you're not open to trying new things or doing inner work, this won't work for you. But if you are, the results speak for themselves. Now, if this is resonating and you see how this could help you move into your full potential as an artist through the process of finishing your best music, here's your next step. Click the link below and join Music Creator Academy. Once you sign up, we'll immediately give you an orientation and guide you on your next steps. MCA is everything that's helped me and my students finish amazing sounding music that sounds like no one else. I'll walk you through a comprehensive system to move you from first idea to finished master with confidence, flow, and artistic integrity. And it's specifically designed to help you create your own knowledge and reveal your unique genius and support it. But at the end of the day, talking about it is different than actually doing the work. If you want to go on this journey and transform your relationship to your creativity and your music, you'll have to commit to the process. But I promise, if you show up and do the work, it will change your musical life. If this is all making sense, then I invite you to join MCA with the link below now. I truly hope this was helpful for you, and thank you so much for your kind time and attention, and I'm looking forward to seeing you inside.